Welcome to our Fantasy Lens episode 159. Today it is just me and producer Vince on the mic. Welcome, producer Vince, and it is Wednesday that we are publishing this episode, and we have a little bit of a special one for you today. We will be reviewing Scott Wheeler's top prospect pools in about half an hour. How does that sound?
We're definitely not going to get through all 32 teams.
Probably not, but at least we'll mention at least the tier one prospects that he has for each teams. And you know what? Some teams don't even have a tier one prospect, so that's what's going to be interesting. We're going to see here which teams he feels that are in a good position moving forward, which ones maybe have been, I guess, competing for a long time, so don't have a big fantasy pool, not fantasy pool, sorry, big prospect pool, and we're
Prospect
going to
pool.
twist it into a fantasy oriented discussion because at the end of the day, we are a fantasy podcast. This is the Fantasy Lens episode, and at the same time, pretty much tier one is where you're going to get the big fantasy producers, let's say, most likely. So
Did you
without
miss it,
further
Nick?
ado,
Did you
sorry.
miss it? Did you miss it? Did you miss the whole episode
Oh, he doesn't do it on the midweek.
159? He doesn't do it on the midweek.
No, he
My
does it on
God.
the main episodes. So
Hmm.
158 is gonna still have that episode. I was actually looking forward to doing it, but he
You can't
showed
take it
up
away
last
from him.
episode.
Yeah,
I can't take it away
exactly.
from him, no matter how much I try, I guess.
Exactly. So
Uh,
who we starting with, Nick?
all right. Well, the Florida Panthers are the 32nd prospect pool in the rankings, meaning that they have the worst ranking for all the prospects pools that are out there. Um, there are. Let's take a look at them. Do you have it open in front of you? Because I
Yeah,
just.
yeah, I have. So I have it for open for him. So obviously, the Florida Panthers are previous Stanley Cup winners. You're going to see a lot of the bigger teams in this bottom half of the standings for prospects, and it's because when you're in win mode, you usually sell those prospects or those draft picks to make your team better for the playoffs. You know, especially for rental players. So right now, their number one prospect over here is Jack Devine. He's a right winger. He's 22 years old. He was drafted number 221 in 2022. He was a very productive player in college hockey, and as a senior at Denver, who is at Denver is in the final is the Frozen Four again, which is going to be April 19th, if I'm not mistaken. So he registered back-to-back 50 plus seasons, 50 plus points, and leading the country in scoring the last year with 57 points in 44 games. I mean, fantasy wise, Nick, this is not a guy that we're drafting or stashing in our prospect pools, right? This is more of a player that if he does get his opportunity, we pick him up through waiver or something like that.
Well, that depends on how deep your league is, right? I mean, you're assuming it's like an LPHL where you could only roster 30 players, but like in Llama, for example, where you're rostering 90 guys, including your prospects, um, then this is somebody that could be interesting. Uh, there's a couple of other guys here, but really, there's not much in the prospect pool of Florida to really spend too much time on. Divine might be the only really one. Although, if you take a look at his list, the guys that
Mhm.
he's ranked as tier one for Florida includes quite a few guys. Marek Alsher, Kirill Gerasimyuk, who's a goalie. Um, he's one of the top goaltenders in the MHL for years now. He's 22 years old. Um, Linus Eriksson. Uh, but like I'm looking at where he has them ranked, and we're talking about guys that are probably going to be top nine players, right? Not necessarily top sixers. Um, So he still has them here ranked as tier one,
Hmm.
uh, but there's other teams that are going to have more lucrative prospects to speak about. And I think we should be moving on to our next number 31, which he has the Dallas Stars. So, Dallas Stars, I'll just start with this guy because I traded for him. And I traded a player with you to get him. So, Emil Hemming is a right winger, and only 19 years old, playing with Barry right now. Um, and he's been really good. Like, he's a point producer. And if he doesn't
Hmm.
point produce, he doesn't really do too much else. But he finished a high note with the World U18s. Um, he's been kind of up and down. There's games where he really excels and creates many looks for himself, and others. Powerful one timer, great shooter. He skates pretty fast. Um, there's a markings of a middle six power play two scorer, um, but has to round up his game. So we're really looking at. I hope that he becomes a second liner in the NHL.
Hmm.
Power play two. It's not too bad, but not somebody that um, you're really looking too highly on right now. Now, like if he rounds up his game, he could really become that top sixer, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also what we need to explain to listeners also is that Dallas already has most of their high prospects in their team playing in the NHL, like a Wyatt Johnson who's 22 and is top six, Maverick
Well, he's
Bourque.
not a prospect anymore, right?
No, that's it. That's it. So they're young. So Dallas was up there in the prospect rankings when these guys were still our prospects, but they've hit with Wyatt Johnson, with Harley, Bichelle. It's still we're still waiting to see if he can be that top four defenseman that they need him to be, and Maverick
But
Bourque.
he's playing.
Yeah, he's
Bichel's
playing,
playing
and
in the NHL.
exactly, and Maverick Bourque, he's playing. Yes, he might be playing on a third, fourth line, but right, with your young guys to really evaluate your young guys, you need them to play in the NHL. And once they're in
Cam
the NHL, that's when you're evaluating them to see where they can get.
Well, yeah, you have to evaluate before that in order to get them,
Mm,
especially in dynasty leagues, which we really like focus on, right? So, like, you're drafting these guys, you're holding on to them. You never know. Maybe there's a guy like Cameron Schmid who went 94th in the 2025 draft year. Maybe he's sitting on your free agency somewhere, and
hmm.
he's ranked number two, like right under Emil Hemming. And he has like elite speed, plus level shot, but he's 5'8",
Yeah,
and that's gonna be his big drawback, right? Um, so according to this, he has a. Those are the only two players that he has as a tier one for Dallas. Only two players, considering he had 10 tier ones for Florida. So it's kind of interesting that he has um, them ranked higher than Florida by one. It's not much, but still.
but still,
Um,
exactly.
maybe he has upside, Cameron Schmid, to be a top sixer, most likely a middle sixer again, like Emil Hemming. So we'll see where that goes. But I really hope Emil Hemming is better than that in the end because I traded Adam Yurichek for him. So let's see where that ends up going. Uh, Vince, the Oilers
Yes,
are next. Who
and
do you
number
have
30.
at
So
number 30 for the Oilers?
so basically, they only have one player in the tier one section, which is Isaac Howard, which got his taste of the NHL a bit. Obviously, they got him from Tampa Bay. I mean, NHL probability is still very high in hockey prospecting. They have him at 67% of NHL probability. Star probability, that's where it's a little bit lower. He's at 14%, and he lowered to 8% and 8%. I mean, this is a guy who won the Hobie Baker in 24-25 after he led the college hockey in points per game, 52 and 37 games, so 1.41 per game. So he's got the talent. He has an opportunity to play with talent with the Edmonton Oilers. The only problem, not the only problem, the only question is, will he be able to blend and take that opportunity? Right now, it seems more like Savoie is taking that opportunity in Edmonton.
Hmm
but he's still a guy I'm very high on, Isaac Howard, because he's just offensively gifted. So and he plays up and down the ice, which Edmonton needs, and he'll get his opportunity because Edmonton is high on the cap, so they need players on ELC contracts to make their NHL roster right now.
So it's interesting because he's the only tier one prospect that Wheeler
Yeah.
has ranked for Edmonton. Um, Ike Howard, I guess the impressive thing to know about him um, is obviously that he does play both sides of the ice. He's really good on the slot
Hmm.
and in front of the net, and he's going to be considered a power play guy. So uh, you
Yeah.
really want to look to see if he's playing with McDavid or Drysaddle, and I think that's going to really tell you whether he's made it or not, right? But he could be a future guy.
Yeah. He could definitely be a future guy on that team, especially if McDavid stays. Draisaitl is staying. He signed a 8-year deal, so he's staying, and I'm pretty sure McDavid will be staying also. So it just like we said, it's just will he be able to take his opportunity and run with it?
Now this one might hurt,
Yeah, this
Vince.
one
This
is
one might
gonna.
hurt.
I think this one is gonna hurt. Oh
Um,
man. So
this one
far, the
might hurt
three teams we
because
spoke about. Yeah.
the
Well,
three
the
teams
three
we
teams we
spoke
spoke
about
about.
are in the playoffs.
No, Florida is not in the playoffs, but
Oh,
they've
sorry,
been
they won the cup last
injury.
year.
Yeah, they were injury riddled, but they won the cup last year. The other two are in playoff position. This one, on the other hand, well, you can take it, Nick.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are missing the playoffs and don't have a first round pick or didn't have a first round pick in the top five this year, have the 29th worst prospect pool ranking according to Scott Wheeler, and they still have Easton Cowan considered as one of the tier one prospects in this pool, which he's kind of graduated because he's kind of playing in the NHL all season so far. But uh, Cowan is ranked as the number one tier one prospect here, and Cowan is an interesting player because you kind of question of how high his scoring upside will be. Like, is he going to
Hmm.
be a point producer when it comes to fantasy or not? And that's something that I'm still questioning myself. But the fact is that he had a great OHL career with the London Knights, and he has started off as a rookie being kind of okay for Toronto. I just don't see a top sixer necessarily here. Maybe in his peak he could actually become that, and maybe Vince, you have some more information to throw at me here regarding him. But before you get to it, um, like he could play
He,
center, left wing, or right wing, which really
hmm.
helps because he's versatile. Um, I'm kind of seeing a middle sixer here. I don't see him necessarily as a top line player.
Yeah, I think it's more he needs to get consistency in his game. I mean, right now he's at 26 points in 61 games played. It's not too bad, but I mean, even when he was the London Knights, he had one season where he had 53 points in 68 games, then another season of 96 points in 54 games, and then he went back to 69 points in 46 games. So the points overall varied very much in those 3 years. So which one is the real Easton Cowan? Is he going to be a guy who can get you the 70 to high mid 70 points, or is he a guy who's going to float around the 50 to 60 points? So I think it's still very early to see what kind of player he is. He he kind of got his opportunity this year. Like I'm not going to say he fully got his opportunity, but he did play. He did get some power play time. He did get some time on the first line. So I mean, still at the end of the day, 26 points is not ridiculous for a 20-year-old in his first NHL season. I'm just hoping. I'm
It just
just
doesn't scream star to you.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't scream star. But for Toronto fans, they're just hoping they can get a 70-point player out of this because after him, there is
There's
no
no other tier
more.
one.
There's no
There's
one
no other tier
coming
one.
in for offense, and I mean because of the Brendo Carlo Brendan Carlo deal. Unless they get top five pick this year, they won't have a first round this year. So I'm not sure the prospect pool is going to be any higher for next year. But listen, we never know. They might hit on second rounders or whatnot. So it'll
Didn't
be
they get a
interesting.
first rounder in one of the trades that they did? They sold
Let
off a couple of
me
guys, and I think they got a first rounder back. It's a
let
late
me
first
see. I
rounder,
have.
but I think they got one.
Let me see. I had it here. Because two of their prospects are goalies that are already over 23, if I'm not mistaken, right? There's
Hildeby?
Hildeby, and then there's the one that they just signed who's 24. But draft picks for you see, they have no first round this year, Nick. They got Colorado's first in 2027, but right now they do not have a first
Ah,
round pick
it was
for
2027 they got. Okay.
2026.
Well, talking about Colorado, Colorado is
Probably.
28th on this list. Um, and I mean, again,
Hmm.
it's a competitor. They've been competitive for a very long time. And Gavin Brindley is considered that their top prospect right now in Colorado. Um, and I'm just gonna. Oh, they have a few though, tier one guys. So let's get out of here. So Gavin Brindley looks like it's their top guy. Did you want to go ahead with Colorado here?
Yeah. Yeah, they have Nabokov, 22 as their goalie,
He's a big
top
one.
prospect goalie, and they also have their
He's supposed to come
defenseman
too.
Mikhail. Yes, and they have Mikhail
Nabokov is supposed to come next year.
Gulyev. Yes, from what they select, and they have Mikhail Gulyayev, a left-handed defenseman who's 20 years old, who's also in their tier one
Very
prospect.
impressive. You
So,
said that really well.
nah, not bad.
Gul-
I see. I don't
no,
always screw up names,
ah. Now we
but
just got to
that's
get the breathing done.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but
that
but Brinley and Gulyev both were drafted in 2023, so 31st overall and 34th. So those are if they can become a top four defenseman and a top six forward, that's really good prospecting from Colorado.
very good drafting. Yeah, very good
Yeah.
drafting. Gavin Brindley, was he the guy that they drafted? Yeah, they drafted. It says here 34th overall in 2023.
Yeah.
He was drafted by the Avalanche, right? He wasn't a trade.
No, he was drafted by the Avalanche.
Yeah, that's right. He's a guy I'm actually interested
No,
in.
you're sorry, Nick. No, he was not drafted by the Avalanche. You're right. He was drafted by the Columbus Blue Jackets.
That's see, I remember things,
Yes.
but it just doesn't always get the connection right,
So he was drafted by
I
the
have two kids
Columbus.
and lack of sleep,
Yeah,
so
that's what it
you
is.
have to
He
forgive me.
he was drafted by Columbus Blue Jackets. 57 games played this year. 19 points. I mean, it's not like he's not playing top 6 minutes. So this is more a wait and see type of player. He's a small player at 5'9", but I mean, Colorado could be patient because of the players they already have on the roster.
Well, the LA Kings, how patient can they be? Because they kind of seem like a playoff team, kind of not sometimes. Like they're they still have a youngish team. Like guys like core pieces like Byfield is still young, right?
Yeah,
Another core piece in
in
uh,
Clark as their
Clark,
defenseman.
Brant Clark is still young, so that's very good. And they have Carter George coming up. Carter George is the number one prospect according to Wheeler in this tier one list that he has for them. And he's a goalie. If you don't know who Carter George is, he's a goalie that tracks to be a starter in the league.
Hmm.
Um, so um, probably though a split starter, meaning a 1A to a 1B or a 1B
Well,
to a 1A.
yeah, well, he can split it with the second guy on their list, which is Hampton Sluinski, who's also
Slukinski.
Slukinski, who's also a goalie for Western Michigan. So, I mean, we can agree that LA, that's where their need is right now, is in that. Kemper is getting a little older. They're struggling in that position. So, with Kempe signed, I still think they have something going on for this summer. They'll bring in someone this summer. Uh, but the two players that they have right now in their tier ones are both goalies, which they will need because that, like I said, Kemper is on the older side of age, so it would be good if one of these goalies pans out for them.
There's another guy, Henry Bruskevich,
Hmm.
and Brustovic is a London Knight. He's played for the Knights all season, but again, like these London Knight defensemen, sometimes because they play with so much structure in London in the
Hmm.
OHL,
Yeah.
there's times that I question how good they translate to the NHL because sometimes they might not be the best skater or the best player, but they seem to have characteristics of an NHLer. According to Wheeler, he sees him more of a um, two-way depth defenseman, like a number five
Five
six kind
six,
of guy.
a good defensive defenseman.
Not really defensive necessarily, right?
No.
Like Bruchkevich could play both. He's a two-way guy. Like he has some offense to his game. It's just that right now, him and Jacob Dvorak, who's the other defenseman
Hmm.
that rounds up their T1. Actually, no, they have one more guy, but also looks like a third pairing defenseman. So we're not talking about like beaters necessarily here. Um, so maybe not fantasy relevant guys in LA. And the last guy in their tier one is Vodchek Sihar,
Hmm.
uh, who is the guy that I got from you in one of my trades that we did together. And he's not really sure if he's going to be an NHLer, but he has a chance to be have a long pro career. He's just not sure if it's NHL or AHL, and he kind of sees him similar to Alex Lafreniere, who's already on the Kings. Um, so, anyways, interesting there. Let's move on to the number 26. Vince, you want to take away Ottawa Senators, a fellow Canadian team?
So yes, Ottawa Senators are 26. Obviously, this is understandable. If you look at the Ottawa team right now and who's on their team, they have Stutzel, who's 24. They have Brady Kachuk, who's 26. They have Dylan Cozen, who's 25. Batterson, 27. Pinto, who's 25. Ridley, who's 23. Jake Sanderson, who's 23. Shabbat's 29, so we'll keep him out of it. Jordan Spence, 25. But their prospects are playing in the NHL right now. But they do have a gem in prospect in their number one tier, and it's
What you
Carter
mean is they've
Yakmachuk.
graduated their prospects, right?
Yeah, they graduate. Exactly. The way Wheeler works is that anybody who played in the NHL at least a full season is no more prospect in his view. So he removes them from the prospect list. But they do have Carter Yakmachuk, who, I mean, is having a great rookie season in the AHL, had a cup of tea with Ottawa, and is playing well. He could be that second scoring defenseman that they need right next to Jake Sanderson. So I think it's his graduation to the team will be earlier than most of the players we spoke about. I think as of this year, if they make the playoffs, and as of next year, I think he's a full timer on this team. But he is one of the I think he right as of right now he is the highest uh, talented prospect we've spoken about so far
That's
compared to
yeah,
all the
that's
rest.
interesting. I mean, when it comes to fantasy, especially points only leagues, I think I agree with you. Yakimchuk is probably the most offensive guy that we've spoken about, and there's some offensemen in that category that we spoke about, right? But
Hmm.
right now, and especially according to Wheeler, again, he's 6'3" and he's a right-handed defenseman, which already looks good. But he is high-end offensive upside. It's the rest of his game that really needs to get in line if he's going to become an NHLer, right? So
Hmm.
it's going to be interesting. I kind of see him as a guy that takes over for Shabbat eventually, but Shabbat's contract is so long that it might still be a few years before that happens.
I don't know.
Um,
I think I think Ottawa will be okay to have a Shabbat as a number three or number four defenseman. I don't think that's going to
well, they
be
already
too
have him as a
shabby.
number three
Yeah,
because they have
exactly.
Jake Sanderson on the top pairing.
On the top pairing. So I to me, Yakimachuk's rise to Ottawa will be quicker than we think, and by rise I mean he'll get those minutes right away. I don't think they're going to hesitate to give him those minutes.
Well, recently, because of all the injuries they sustained, Shabbat was out, Jake Sanderson was out. They had quite a few guys that were out. They promoted Yakimchuk, who came in, got a couple of points right away, and then he got injured himself. So
Mm.
they're going through a little bit of an injury bug in Ottawa, which might actually knock them out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
And right, like they're borderline. I don't know if you saw that. Like there
it's
was
Nick.
four
It's
or five
ridiculous.
guys tied
Yeah.
for the last wild card spot. Uh,
Last week, I think we were talking about Washington being out of it, and they're 1 point behind the last wildcard position. But now they
yeah.
lost; they're losing today. So that wildcard race is going to be it's going to be something to watch towards the
Yeah,
end of the year.
agreed. Agreed. All right. Well, I'm going to move on to the next one, which is at number 25. Wheeler has the Golden Knights. Um, Vince, I don't know about you, but do you want to do like we'll do the Golden Knights? We'll do all the way to the Jets at number
Yeah,
20, and then we'll call it for today because
yeah,
the episode's already running at 26 minutes right now, and we
yeah.
still have
So
to
let's do
do a
that.
word from our ANC Photo Booths is our sponsor
Yes.
for today's episode. Cynthia and Adam,
Oh, you got this.
uh, Anthony,
Oh no.
Anthony and Cynthia. Oh man, see, Junior does these. I don't do these.
Exactly. See, this is what
ANC
happens when
Photo
Junior's not
Booths.
here.
They give you a better price if you mention that Partial Breakaway podcast sent you, and they do everything from um, first of all, photo booths for your big events. I think they had a smoke machine last time. Junior was saying
Hmm.
uh, all kinds of things to help you out with your decorations and your enjoyment. So, hit them up. Look up their prices. There's not You don't lose anything if you have a big event coming up to actually shop around for prices. Let them know Partial Breakaway sent you, and it's going to help out not only get us recognition, but also help you out with a lower price. So ANC photo booths, guys. Look them up. All right, Golden Knights.
Go Nick.
So they have Trevor Connolly as the tier one prospect on this list. They also have Carl Lindbaum, uh, Ilz Wozniak, uh, Bowman, but it starts really falling off, right? If I take a look at tier one Trevor Connolly, he's the most talented guy. The problem with Connolly has never been his talent; it has always been what's between the ears. And not that he's uh, an incompetent person, just that he has a little bit of extracurricular sometimes, which gets him into trouble. And we've seen in the past really talented players not make it to the NHL when they don't get along with their coaches, or they don't get along with their players, or they have too much attitude. So this is something to keep an eye on. So always remember there's some risk in Vegas, and there's risk with this one as well. Um, he's an imperfect player. He could frustrate you a lot, but he has all kinds of talent, and he has top six NHL upside if he hits. So that's really where you're looking at Trevor Connolly as somebody that should be owned in deep dynasty leagues, especially. And but he's risky, so don't pay
Yeah.
an arm and a leg to acquire him, right?
Yeah.
Carl Lindbaum is their goalie of the future. It looks like um, he has a very good trajectory, and he was the third last pick in the 2021 draft. He was like Mr. Irrelevant kind of
Hmm.
pick. But despite all that, he's looking like he's actually going to be an NHL goalie. Uh, the it, it's a little bit out whether or not he's NHL ready anytime soon, but he's probably going to be better than Akira Schmid.
Yeah.
So you could take that with what it's worth. Is Wozniak is a right winger, um, and very productive for in Sweden's J20 league. Um, he has legitimate skills for power play.
Mhm.
It's interesting to see how he does when he comes over to North America because he still has not been on North American ice. So a little bit interesting there. Um, I don't know if we should
Uh,
get into the other guys, but
No, well, listen, at 24 we have the Tampa Bay Lightning. Um, as you know, like all these teams we're talking about right now, either won the cup in the past 5 years or were deep in the playoffs in the cup finals in the past 5 6 years. So
except
the
the Senators and the
prospects,
Kings.
yeah, except the Senators King. So, but Senators have most of their young guys on their teams now. But the Tampa Bay Lightning have two guys in tier one. They have Connor Geeky and they have Sam O'Reilly, who they got from the Oilers in the trade for Isaac Howard. Uh, the biggest thing is Connor Geeky because he's 6'4". He could play center. He could play wing. He's already playing in the AHL. If he was on any other team, he would probably already have gotten his cup of tea in the NHL. But because he's with the Tampa Bay Lightning and their lineup is just so balanced from 1 to 4, he hasn't gotten his opportunity yet. So at 6'4", he's a big body. He can play. He doesn't mind using his body. Uh, he has a clear skill as a handler, passer, and a shooter, and he's comfortable trying things with the puck. At 6'4", I mean, you kind of think of Tage Thompson, right?
You
In
can't
that
teach that.
level. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Tage
And I'm
Thompson is high, bigger.
yeah, man. I'm not saying it's Tage Thompson, but I'm just saying Tampa Bay could have their next top six forward to come in Connor Geeky. The only thing is, like we always say with kids, is it's the route to their development, the route to their development. Where is it going to bring them? As for Samurai O'Reilly, he's younger. He's 19. He was picked 32nd overall in the first round, but with the Oilers, he went a little higher than expected. They were expecting him to go mid-second round, but he went at the end of the first round. So, I mean, we're not going to spend too much time on that. If I would have to pick one or not, I would take my chances on Connor Geeky just because it seems like players who are big usually get their opportunity in the NHL. And at 6'4", I think he's going to get his opportunity in the NHL sooner than Sam Riley.
Moving on to the Winnipeg, sorry, Minnesota Wild at number 23. They have Charlie Stramel as their top prospect, and like let's not forget they traded away Zeev Buyam, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had a couple of other guys here, but they're really competing in Minnesota and they're going for it now. So Charlie Stramel is what's left, I think. He's like a big boy. This guy's a train. This guy is an absolute train. Um, the question is how much skill does he have enough skill to actually make it to the NHL and to really be a difference maker. Um, he doesn't have much offense, so for fantasy, you're kind of questioning whether it's even worth it to roster him. The only other guy they have in tier one is Adam Benach. Adam Benach is a Czech player, um,
Zuccarello size.
Zuccarello size. Yeah, he projects to be kind of like a middle sixer in the NHL, but there's quite a bit of people that have their doubts um, due to his size, really.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna make it personally, but I'm not so sure if he's gonna have enough to be a um, difference maker in fantasy.
Mm.
And then there's no other tier one guy there. So you want to move on to
Yeah.
22?
Yeah. We at 22 we have the New Jersey Devils, who are a very young team, but they still have some key players in the prospects. The first one is Mikhail Yegorov, who was spoken to us about when we did our team previews at the beginning of the year, saying that he's a guy that can come in and definitely take the number one spot in goalie because I mean they have Mark Strom and Jake Allen who are both on the older side in age again, so he can definitely come in. He plays for Boston University. He's a freak athlete, which is always good, and he's 6'5". I always said it. Goalies who are big will always get the opportunity to prove themselves in the NHL. So he's one guy that I wouldn't be surprised by next year if he's on that team. And then they have two solid defensemen,
I still
Anton
think he's
Sil.
gonna need a few more years, but
Yeah,
yeah, he's very young,
depends.
very
It
young,
depends how desperate they get, Nick. The New Jersey Devils. They still have Markstrom under contract
and they
for
still have Allen for a very
another
cheap
year.
price for a while.
Yeah, but if they're planning on making the playoffs, they have Markstrom for another 3 years, and they have Allen for another 5 years. So
Yeah, so I don't think
he
Yegorov
still
is
has time, but
sniffing the
Markstrom.
NHL next year or the year after, most likely.
No,
But
because
don't forget,
man,
he's very young. Eh?
Markstrom's at
An NHL
36.
goalie, you're
Yeah,
looking at
yeah, I know, but
23, 24. It's a very
yeah. So
long,
so
long
they might
projection.
think that they might think that maybe Nico Dawes is their guy in between before he comes up.
Maybe.
So we'll wait and see. But in defense, they have Anton Silyev, who was high, like fantasy wise, was not very highly touted because he's not an offensive defenseman. But he's 6'7", uses his body, and knows just how to play good defense. And the offense could come with him. It's
Look,
just
Zdeno Chara had stints where he was
exactly
productive,
that's
right?
that's
I'm
where I
not saying
was
that.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he was always productive or a fantasy
Hmm.
must-have, but he had stints where he put up some points playing a lot of minutes on a
Yeah.
Boston team. So there could be
Exactly.
that.
And there's Seamus Casey that also they have uh, in their
Is he a
tier
tier one
one.
also?
Yeah, Seamus Casey is a tier one also. 27 ranked prospect on 2022 draft board. He- I think the Devils are not overpowered. What's the word I'm looking for?
Well
Lucky,
positioned.
well positioned in defense. I mean, you got Luke Hughes, you got Nemec, you got Silyev, and you have Casey.
Yeah.
Can we see a situation where one of these guys gets traded for help on the top six forward side? So that could also be something that happens, and if it does, might be an opportunity for them, a better opportunity for some of these defensemen than they have with New Jersey.
Well, the next guy on the list, the next team on the list is a team that absolutely knows how to draft.
Yeah.
That is the Carolina freaking Hurricanes, and um, they've been competitive for a while now. No, they haven't won a cup, but they've always been moving past round one. Pretty much, it feels like every single year. Um, and here, Carolina still has the 21st ranked prospect pool, and they start off with, I think, a fantasy must know in Bradley Nadeau, because Bradley Nadeau has top six potential here, and he's a 5'10" winger. He needs to translate his skills to the NHL, but if anybody could do it, I think he can. They also have a goalie prospect in Semyon Frolov, um, who has the potential to be in the NHL, and he still needs a little bit of time. He's only 19 years old. So, like we just spoke about with Yegorov,
Hmm.
Frolov is probably a few years away. But if you're looking for somebody that could maybe steal a game and become like a 1A, I think Frolov has that ability. That's about all they have for their tier ones right now. There's quite a few guys in tier two that I'm interested in. But as of right now, that's all they have in tier one. So we'll move on to the Winnipeg Jets as the last team that we'll talk about today. And I think we're going to continue this next week
Yeah.
because I like this topic.
So the Winnipeg Jets have four players in their tier one prospects. So they have Elias Salomon, who's a right-handed defenseman. He's 21. Um, he's developed quicker than they thought. Um, he was off to a really positive start to his post-draft season in the SHL, which is the Swedish league, 3 seasons ago, but was bound to make Team Sweden for World Juniors before an ankle injury. So obviously, an injury set him back a bit, but he's still a defenseman that can average 21 to 22 minutes a game, can take on some minutes. The Jets do need help on the back end, especially with Josh Morrissey there. They might need more help. The second guy they have is Braden Yeager, who they got from a trade with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, it was the McGroarty.
Yeah, we don't need. Yeah, remember that chant? So
So fun.
he's 21. He's 21. Picked fourth. Uh, he was rookie of the year in the CHL with 34 goals. The talent is there. Is just can he put all his game together to make the next step to the NHL, which is something to see. Isaac Rosen is also under tier one. He was also picked number 14. He was just traded to them by Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, big Buffalo player.
But yeah, so he's a goal scoring winger. The one thing Winnipeg needs right now is someone else to score besides Connor, Shifley, or Velarde. They have no secondary scoring, and with Rosen, with Jaeger, and now with the fourth one, even Brad Lambert, who's also in their tier one. These are all guys that I think they need to evaluate and see if they can crack their top six or be top six forwards.
So that's what I was gonna say. Like all three of these guys, in my opinion, are all third liners. Like
Right now,
I
100%.
like they're projected to be
Yeah,
like third liners. Like Jaeger is probably going to be a very good, productive third liner that does secondary scoring. How interesting is that in a points only fantasy league, right? Like I'm not so sure. I feel the same way with Brad Lambert. Like he's showing me middle six potential. It's not set in stone. None of this stuff is
no.
set in stone. That these guys are still young. Like any one of these guys could blow up and become something great. Uh, but Brad Lambert's 22. How much longer does he have?
I think Brad Lambert. I think if he doesn't get traded and if he doesn't get traded next year, he'll be a full timer on that Winnipeg team, and that's where they're gonna see where his development has brought him, and if he could be a top six or bottom six. Right now, I agree with you. Right now, he isn't even close to being a top six forward
Even
that they need.
Isaac Rowan, he's
Mm,
23, right? He doesn't
He would
have the runway to develop that much
exactly.
more to take
No,
a big jump. I'm saying.
that's what's it. Their runway is getting shorter and shorter. So I think next year both these players are players that are to watch and see how their game progresses in the NHL.
Yeah.
But Winnipeg desperately needs one of those two to hit just to get some secondary scoring, or else they'll be in trouble again next year.
Okay, so we spoke about the bottom 10. Next week in Fantasy Lens, we'll talk about the middle 10 teams, and we'll probably have Junior here to throw his opinions around as well. Um, but out of all the names that we've spoken about, out of all the teams that we've spoken about, just to conclude today's session, uh, was there anything that really stood out to you? Any one player or two that really you feel should be higher on the list, or um, maybe is like really fantasy relevant that you would go after?
Well, the one guy is Yakmachuk from Ottawa for sure. I would go after him just because of the caliber of talent he has. But it's very hard because most of the teams we spoke about are teams that are going to compete next year again for a playoff, and teams that compete usually don't have space to bring in young players. But I would definitely I'm a Brad Lambert owner. He's on one of my teams, and next year is going to be the year where I say, do I keep him or do I not, fantasy wise, because he has all the opportunity with Winnipeg to get top 6 minutes, play important minutes, and play power play time, because that team right now is a one line team. So
Yeah.
that's the team I'm gonna be looking for next year. Uh, Personally, just because I own him, so you always want to see players that you own. But I'm just surprised. A team that surprised me in all this is that I'm worried about the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's no other way of saying it. I know they've been competing the past 10 years, so there's no the prospect pool is very hard to get when you're competing because you're giving away draft picks, but their team does not look good and they need to stack up that prospect pool
Well,
for the future.
yeah. So, and I know our Toronto friends of ours that are in our leagues. Um, they hate it when I do it, but I do it once a year, and it's only once, Adam. I don't do it more than once a year. I always post a 2018 article from the Hockey Network where
And
it
they
says
hate it.
plan the parade. Plan the parade. It's not when the Maple Leafs will win. The question is how many cups will the
Yeah.
Maple Leafs win? And since that posting, they've won nothing. So
Mm.
I think they've only passed the first round
Twice,
twice, if I'm not
twice. If I
mistaken.
yeah.
The two guys, just to wrap it up, the two guys that I was looking at is Ike Howard. If he plays with McDavid or Draisaitl, this guy could become fantasy relevant in a heartbeat. So that's one guy. And Yegorov, only 19, so still a long ways away, but
Hmm.
he looks like to be the heir apparent in New Jersey. So I'm very interested to see where his career goes. Um, Vince, you might not have had time, but either a joke of the day, be it a dad joke or a Texas Ranger joke. Um, you tell me.
Oh man, yeah. Let me go fast. Let me see what I got here. Yeah, and by the way, like happy Easter to everyone. I know it's past, but we said in the previous episode. But yeah, it's been a busy week.
Hey,
Um,
Greek Easter coming up, my
yeah,
friend.
next year exactly.
Not next year, this
Um,
week.
this week is true. Holy man. What happened when two slices of bread
Next
went on a
year.
date? Yeah, Nick. What happened when two slices of bread went on a date?
They jammed?
It was a loaf at first sight.
Uh,
Uh,
cute. Cute. All right,
have
everybody.
a good
Thank you
night,
very
people.
much for listening. Please hit that
Like,
like and subscribe. You
yeah,
don't need to listen. We're doing this for fun, and we're enjoying all the commentary that we get, including about Vince's breathing. Have a good evening.
breathing from my nose. Breathe from the nose.